All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the District Advisory Council meeting. Before we get started, I'm going to ask our assistant, Miss Sandra, to give us our interpretation instructions.
Buenas tardes. Para servicios de interpretación, favor de hacer lo siguiente si nos acompaña por teléfono o tableta. Número 1, oprima los 3 puntos. Número 2, oprima la opción de Language Interpretation. Número 3, seleccione el idioma Spanish. 4, deslice el botón de Mute Original Audio. Si nos acompaña por computadora, favor de hacer lo siguiente. 1. Haga clic en el icono del globo localizado en la parte de abajo de su pantalla. 2. Escoge el idioma Spanish. 3. Seleccione Mute Original Audio. We will now have one of our co-chairs call the meeting to order.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. We are calling the meeting to order at 5:31 p.m.
Excellent. And next, our hybrid meeting norms.
Okay. So, thank you. Before we move on with the rest of our agenda, I would like to review the hybrid meeting norms. In person, if we're here in person, all of you out here, yay, hi everybody. So many of you here. Oh my God. Enter the meeting prepared to be engaged. Sign in at the entrance table. To ask questions, use the burning question card. That would be the yellow one. Okay? To motion or second a motion, raise your hand and state your first and last name. To vote, raise your hand until the count is completed. Enjoy the meeting. Virtual. Are you out there in our virtual world? Oh my God, really? 200 people? Ooh, thank you. Oh, go ahead, San Bernardino. Yes. Enter the virtual meeting prepared to be engaged. Roll call will be taken by the attendance report. To ask a question, type the question in the chat box. To motion or second a motion, raise your hand, your virtual hand that is, or unmute and state your first and last name. To vote, raise your virtual hand until count is completed. You also enjoy the meeting. Okay. Roll call will be taken by the attendance report from the Zoom meeting and the in-person sign-in sheet. I hope you guys, I know it's going to take us a long time with all these people here. We got roll call, but
We'll make sure that we capture that on our virtual and our sign-ins right over at the registration table. Thank you.
Please take out the DAC minutes and take a few minutes to review them. Last month, we discussed, sorry, I'm not organized. Was it March? Okay.
We're on item number 5 on the agenda.
We discussed the Atlas program. We went over the parent involvement and family engagement dashboard local indicator, priority 3, the differentiated assistance, comprehensive school improvement, CSI, additional targeted support and improvement, and equity multiplier. We went over some Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV program evaluation and public comment, and that is all.
And before we move on to a vote, there was a question at our last meeting on virtual public comment that I would like to make sure I answer. The question had to do with English learner students not having enough books in Spanish at school sites. And this question was, what budget do schools have to be able to purchase those materials? Excellent question. Schools have several budgets that they are able to use to purchase Spanish materials, including Title I funds for what are called other books, and that would be outlined in your school plan for student achievement. I know all of you have been working on those plans for next year, so you probably gave some input on that during your SSC meetings to be able to include that in your school plan. LCAP funds can also be used to purchase materials for English learners. Sometimes English learners need books in their primary language to be able to learn not only their primary language, but also help transfer that into English in the classroom. So they're able to use their LCAP funds at the school site as well, which would be outlined in the school plan for student achievement. And the school also has a budget for general operating costs at the school site, and they can also use that budget as well. So I hope that answers that particular question from last meeting. We can move on to the motion and approval of those minutes.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the March 13th, 2025 minutes? Thank you.
Motion to approve.
I have Corinthia
Oh, I'm
over
sorry.
here. Thank
I'll
you.
second.
Thank you. Second is Miss Sally Garcia.
I didn't want to speak into
No, you're good. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Please raise your hand high, keep it high for the count.
Okay. If you are joining us in person, okay, we already did that. And you may raise your hand virtually always if you'd like. Any opposed? If you're joining us in person, you can raise your hand to oppose, and via Zoom, you can raise your virtual hand for opposition. Any abstentions? And if you're joining us in person, you can raise your hand if you'd like to abstain. And if you're joining us via Zoom, you can raise your virtual hand to abstain. Motion carries. We have a student representative who will be sharing the Student Leadership Advisory Report. Do we? No? Never mind, we will move on.
Probably not able to join us. It's May, and those kids have lots of things going on at their school site.
Yeah. So at this time, we'll go into old business. There is no old business to address at this time. Before we move on to our first presenter, we would like to remind our members and guests to please keep questions in general and refrain from asking student-specific questions. This is to ensure the privacy and confidentiality of all students and their families. If you do have a personal question, feel free to speak with Ms. Sargent or Ms. Tagashi at the end of the meeting. Thank you for understanding. We have Kimber Sargent, Director of Categorical Programs Department here to present the first two agendas in the line item, Winter Submission, CONAP Part 3, and the Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, Annual Update. Ladies and gentlemen, Kimber Sargent.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Pleasure to be back here with District Advisory Council. This is an important month for all of us here in the district as we take time to appreciate our staff for all that they do, be it a classified staff, certificated staff, our parent volunteer workers. Boy, the microphone wants to be very low today, and I'm very tall, so we'll try our very best here with this one. Let's see if we can adjust. There we go. So I want to take a moment before I start just to say thank you. Thank you for your time. Those who work here with us in the district for our city schools, for our school community, thank you for your dedication to our school community and our students, keeping your decision-making student-focused. Really, I appreciate all that you do for our parents who are here each day, coming to support you, not only your student, but other students. As a representative for District Advisory Council, you play an important role in making sure that the message gets out, that it's not a secret how great San Bernardino is. We want this to be known from wall to wall of our borders here in our district and beyond that. As our superintendent, Mr. Ariano, says, we want them to know, what's happening right here in San Bernardino. And that aligns with the work that we do with Vision 2030. So I want to express my gratitude for having me here. I know sometimes you might get tired of seeing me here. Tonight I'll be wearing 2 different hats as a presenter. The first is going to be the winter submission of the consolidated application. This, you might be thinking, Ms. Sargent, we're not in the winter. It was over 80 degrees today. So this is an after the fact of reporting of what we reported as a district in the use of our federal funds. Our federal funds, as a reminder, include our Title I funds, which support our lowest achieving students, our Title II funds, which support professional growth, recruitment, and retention of staff, our Title III funds, which support our English learners, and our Title IV funds, which support a well-rounded education. So in this application, there are 2, if you will go ahead and go to the next slide, sorry. I don't think I'm the clicker. I do have a feedback. I don't know if I hear somebody's sound. So if my sound virtually is not good, if you can put that in the chat to let me know, because I can hear myself talking to myself. Maybe this doesn't have any sound connected. So, but in the chat, if you can just let me know, I want to make sure you hear this. For consolidated application, there are 2 submissions. There's a winter and a spring submission. We apply for the funds in the spring. In the winter, we report on the use of the funds. In that reporting, we will report over several periods, ranging from 6 months to 12 months to 18 months to 27 months. So for each program, it has different requirements. The information that we input is based on what we spent those dollars on. During the school year, we gather information from our educational partners during District Advisory Council, during our DLAC as well, on the use of those funds to best support our students. So for our winter release, I realize it doesn't look like an easy one, but this was an easy one. So all of the reporting was related to this school year here, 2024-2025. 2024, you'll see in the first column there, the reporting for Title I included reporting on our allocations. These are allocations that go to our school site. If you are a school site council member, during that time is when you talk about Title I and the use of those funds in your school plan for student achievement. I am reporting on how much your school was allocated. I will also report the number of students that are eligible as a Title I student. Title I eligibility is based on risk factors, being low achieving, being free and reduced price meal. And in our district, all of our schools, with the exception of one, operate as a school-wide program. That means that every single student at your school is able to benefit from the use of Title I funds. The only school that does not operate a school-wide program is the Alternative Learning Center, ALC. Under Title I, just quickly, there is also reporting on our non-public private school participation. This is required under the Title I law that students who attend a non-public private institution, we have several schools within our district boundaries and to our neighboring boundaries that have students that live within the San Bernardino City Unified School District, yet they attend a private school. Title I requires that we still provide service to those students, although they are attending another school that's a non-public, because they're ours. These are our children from our community. We still provide support to them. So we report on the number of those students and the allocations for those. Title II, this is a district level funding that supports professional development, recruitment, and retention of staff. For Title II, these are all expenditures that happen at the district level, and this reporting was again for this school year, 2024-2025, just the first 6 months. We do have required participation with our non-public private schools, so we will also report on the expenditures from those schools. Title III, again, 24-25 reporting. We report on the allocation. The discussion of the plan and the support for our English learners comes during our District English Learners Advisory Committee, our DLAC, which we just had our president of DLAC actually just walked in, and they discuss our English learner programs during their meetings. But during DAC, we also gather input on how we can support our English learners. So it happens at multiple meetings. It's not just at one meeting. That is part of our English learner plan, and part of those items are funded with LCAP. Part of those items are funded with title funds. So we report on the use of the title funds in the CONAP. And last but not least, we have Title IV. Title IV is to support a well-rounded education. These are district-level dollars as well. This will support our 3 buckets. If you remember our presentation from the last DAC meeting where we did our evaluation of our Title IV program, there are 3 areas of allowability, and we report on the use of those dollars within each of those 3 buckets. Again, with the non-public private participation as a requirement under Title IV. As a school site, you would be discussing Title I during school site council and the development of your SPSA. As a district committee member, you would be giving input on Titles 2, 3, and 4. If you go to the next slide. I take it as an opportunity to gather input, any interaction that I have. You don't have to come to a particular meeting. You don't have to be the vocal person who's asking the questions or providing the input. It could be a one-on-one conversation. It could be a question that you submit, a form that you submit, or even a comment that you make during school site council that's in the minutes. We take every opportunity as an opportunity to gather input to shape our programs. It's important that we listen to the voices of not just our educators and our leaders, but also our parents, because each of us has a very unique perspective of what the needs of our students are. So you'll see 4 generalized descriptions of ways that we gather input. If you are shy, which I try to say that I'm shy, but nobody believes. If you are shy, I'm happy to always have a conversation one-on-one with you. My team that's here as well are extremely knowledgeable. I know you see me here presenting, but they're often the ones helping to make the presentations and helping to train the school sites. So any one of us is available to have a conversation with you, gather any input, and then make sure that we take that into account when we're developing our plans. My next presentation on CONAP will be the spring release, which will be the application portion. That opened on May 1st, so I am just beginning that process. As Cheryl stated, this is our end of the year, and there is a lot going on. So I have not started, but I have until the end of the month to complete that process. So that is the end of my first presentation, my first hat of consolidated application. Are there any questions that you might have or comments? Ms. Williams?
I'm sorry. Hi, Kimber. My question is, with this new administration that we have, with our new administration, is it going to affect the budgets or anything of what we already have going?
Are you talking at the federal level?
Yes.
Yes, so at the federal level, there's a lot of discussion about the use of our funds, not just on the education side of the house, but on the any other section of the budget. At this point right now, our president has guaranteed that Title I will have no impact, as well as the funds for the Individuals Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, which are the funds for our special education students. Those 2 funds have been explicitly stated that they will not be impacted. Any discussion that we're having about federal funds and at the federal level and what's going to happen is not for next year. It's not for 25-26. It's for 26-27. They're really living in the future, right? we're thinking about next year as the future. They're a year ahead of us. There was a proposal that was submitted for the budget from President Trump that did have two cuts to English learner programs. One was English language acquisition program. The second was a program for migrant workers. Both of those, I did consult with the California Department of Education to confirm, are we talking about Title III for English learners? Is that the same fund and you're just calling it a different name? And they stated that they do not believe this is Title III that we're talking about, that these are other programs that are being discussed that are older programs. The migrant program we do not have here. We're not a farming community. That's where you're going to see a lot of the migrant funds be. So we don't have that program here. But as of right now, we're fine. 25, 26, no change. Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV. IDEA for special education, no change. The discussion is up for 26, 27. I don't have a crystal ball. I've looked on Amazon. They don't sell them yet. So I don't know what it will look like, but definitely is active conversation.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions online? All right, we'll go to the next presentation. Ms. Williams, are you introducing the titles? Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Sargent, for all of that wonderful information. You are always so informative, so smart. If you guys need anything, she's the person to go to. That's our go-to. We already went over it there. Any questions? No questions? Wow, 200 people and not one question? That's when you know you were very thorough. If there are no further questions, we will move on to our next agenda line item. The recognition, where am I at? Okay, yes, of course. Our next agenda item, also given and delivered by our wonderful Kimber Sargent, LCAP.
All right, thank you very much. Everybody's face in here actually today is very familiar to me. So I know that you have a lot of background with the Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP. Today, we are at the point of the year where we have been gathering information. We've had our community meeting where we gathered information. We've taken all of the input and the analysis of our data to develop our plan for next year. Just like you do at your school site when you work with the school plan for student achievement, the SPSA, where you look at your data and you look at your actions and you determined what you're going to do next year. School site councils have just, should be within the last couple weeks, reviewed and approved your SPSA. For the LCAP, we're about 1 month behind. Our cycle's a month later. So we are in the review portion right now with the approval coming in June. So tonight I'm going to go over the items that are included in the draft, kind of take you a little walk back in history if you haven't been able to participate in this process of how we got to where we are right now. Just like the SPSA, you are not writing a totally different plan every single year. That would be really hard to know whether something worked if you only gave it a year and then you moved on to something else. Much of what you will see is a refinement of what we're doing or a change to what we're doing based on what we're seeing in outcomes from student data. So tonight I will go over understanding the plan. The plan is very lengthy. It is not my intention to write a novel every single year, but there are several requirements that you have to make. So we are nearing the 400-page mark. So this is a very lengthy plan that I will be giving you an overview of. At the community meeting, you will have access to the entire plan. So if you are a super reader, it's going to be available to you prior to when we present it to our board. In the presentation, I'll go over the funding that's included in the plan. the structure, kind of the table of contents, so you know the sections of the plan. And then the process of how you can ask any unanswered questions. You can always ask questions. We have that opportunity at every single meeting that we host regarding the LCAP or where I present for the LCAP, but there might still be some outstanding questions that you have. So we'll go over the process on asking those particular questions and then talk about the upcoming meetings. You do have handouts in your packet today. We made a slight change in how you get your handouts. So if you have any feedback later after the meeting, you want to let us know if this is helpful to you. We put it in a folder or an envelope so you can keep it all together. I know you get a lot of pieces of paper, especially if you're on multiple parent advisories. It's hard to keep track of them, so we want to give you a tool that you have something to take back to your school site. So tonight you have the presentation, which includes our LCAP presentation. You also have a flyer. If you write yourself a to-do note during the DAC meeting, I want to ask if you can write a to-do note for yourself to share this with your school. We want you to come to this meeting, but we want you as a representative to bring people with you. So those that you interact with at the school, if you're here as a parent or a community member, bring other parents and community members. If you're here as a teacher or administrator, bring other teachers or administrators. This is our opportunity to put those final touches on our plan before we take it to our board for adoption. So this is part of your to-do. We will also share this with you electronically. So if you need to send it to somebody at the school or you want to have an extra copy of it that's easier for you to share, we're happy to do that. So we'll take a look at, go ahead and to the next slide. So we'll start with the dollar portion of LCAP. Our district has a very high number of English learner, low income, and foster youth students. Those three students are collectively called unduplicated students. The funding that we receive that goes into our LCAP is based on those three groups. It does not mean that those are the only students benefiting. That is how we are funded. So in 25-26, remember we're thinking ahead to next year, 25-26, our budget will be just over $200 million. So this is not a little bit of money. This is a lot of money. Comparative to our neighboring districts, they are around 150, 130. Some of them are only 40 million. So we have a lot of money to be able to provide programs and services to our students. Compared to the current school year, 24-25, we are projected to receive $33,000 more. In a multi-million-dollar budget, $33,000 is so much money to me. Like, it could change my life to have $33,000 right now. But in a multi-million-dollar budget, $33,000 is not a lot. It's not a huge change from what we got in the current school year, right? It would be like if I got an extra $500. Like, yes, I would like an extra $500, but it wouldn't change my world, right? I wouldn't be able to do huge things with it. And then in the number of students that we have, English learner, low income, and foster youth, we are increasing by 0.49. That's the last row. 92.93% of our students fall into one of those categories. Either they're an English learner, they're a low income student, or they're a foster youth student. It is possible, it exists the possibility that you have an English learner that's also a foster youth student, or a low income student that's also a foster youth student. But we only count the student one time. So they're counted either as an English learner or as a low income or foster youth. When we look at all of our student population, over 42,000 students, over 92% of them qualify as either an English learner, low income, or foster youth. It means our district has a very high need population, and that's why we receive so much money, okay? And in our services that we provide to our students, we need to increase or improve. Those are two important words, increase or improve. We have to do more than what another district does. We have to provide more or better services to meet the needs of English learner, low income, or foster youth. We have to make a 42.79% improvement, right? That's what that middle percentage is. The most important that I think and easiest to understand are the top one and the bottom one, okay? So the structure of the plan, this is kind of like your table of contents. So if you look at this plan, you'll see that it has many sections to it. It starts off with general information about our district. We're going to let you know how many students are in the district, how many employees are in the district, and what's the makeup of our student population and our employee population. Are we talking about classified staff members, certificated staff members, or managers, right? We'll break it up by the percentage. There will also be information about the program equity multiplier. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in just a moment, but under that general information, there is a requirement to talk about that new program that started this last school year, 23-24, called Equity Multiplier. We will talk about a reflection in DAC. We have had a lot of presentations on data. You've heard data from myself. You've heard data from other departments as well. So we look at that data and the impact that it's had on our students, and we write a summary. Here's where we did really well. Here's where we are still experiencing challenges. Are we where we want to be? No. Our superintendent with Vision 2030 is asking for us to reach the goal of 50% proficiency in language arts and math, 95% graduation rate, and 75% of college and career readiness. So are we there right now? We're not there. What we're looking for is increased progress each year toward meeting that goal, okay? After your reflections, it will have a section on technical assistance. Technical assistance is additional support that we provide to different student groups based on their data, or different schools based on identification under the system of supports in California. So differentiated assistance is something we've talked about before in the LCAP. I've had a presentation on differentiated assistance. This is our support for African American students. So if you remember, make that connection there. You're going to see information in that section about what we're doing for African American students. And we have a new group that was identified, which is foster youth. So you're going to see information in there now about African American students and foster youth students. Below that, you'll see the information on comprehensive school and improvement. Our district has made very large gains in this area. We had many schools in the 24-25 LCAP. We will only have one school in the 25-26 LCAP. Our schools have made tremendous growth in improving the outcomes of their students at the school-wide level, that they have exited that program. So there's only one school that's remaining. I'll go over in the presentation, and we'll talk about the support for that school. Right? Yeah, you can give it a hand clap for sure. Right smack in the middle of the plan is where we talk about how did you involve other people in this. I'm sure Categorical can write a plan, but we don't want this to be a plan written by a department. We want it to be a plan written with the community that represents the voices of our educational partners. So what did we do to involve our educational partners? In San Bernardino, we have a model program. Other districts watch what we do and wonder, how do we do that? Because that's a lot in the presentations and trying to include as many people as possible. So this is definitely an area of strength in our district. Then it goes into kind of the meat and potatoes of the plan. This is where you see the dollars. This is where you see the data. Those are all in our goals, goals, metrics, analysis, and actions. 2 years ago, we had 3 goals. Life was great. It was beautiful. I loved having 3 goals. Last year, we had to add a lot of goals for equity multiplier and differentiated assistance. We went from 3 goals to 21 goals. For 25-26, we are staying with 21 goals. So I'm very happy that we're not making it 40. we're staying at 21 goals, still having our 3 goals, which support English learner, low-income foster youth, then a chunk that supports our equity multiplier schools, and then the last one being differentiated assistance. Near the end of the plan is where we talk about how we are increasing and improving what we're doing for the students. We're not just doing the basic requirements. We're providing additional programs, additional support, additional experiences, additional learning, both for the adults and for the students, using these funds. In that section, it will only refer to the things in goals 1, 2, and 3, because those are our unduplicated students. Everything in goals 1, 2, and 3 adds up to $201 million. In goals 4 through 21, that's even more money, separate from what we get for English learner, low income, and foster youth. In total, the plan has around $269 million, okay? And then the last thing, they put the instructions, which are actually for me, but they're required to be included, so you get to see the instructions as well. So that'll take us into some visuals for you. I won't go as in depth on this because it will be included in the draft, but I want to make sure I provide a little bit of information for each of the sections. So you'll see here the general information for our schools, 74 schools, 49 elementaries, 11 middle schools, 9 high schools. You'll see that we have comprehensive high schools, a middle college, as well as continuation schools, and then 5 special schools, which include like our virtual academy, ALC, and special education programs, as well as our adult program. You'll see the breakdown of our students to the right, and then our staff in the bottom center. So we are 44,000 students strong, recruiting students every day. The best way to recruit students is to tell them the great things happening here in San Bernardino. Make it not a secret. It should be a very public and exciting thing for them to know. And then for our staffing, 9,000 employees. Again, with that breakdown there for you. Next slide. Under general information, you'll see that equity multiplier program. This is not at all of our schools, as you'll recall. I'll provide the school names here shortly, but the identification is based on criteria set by the California Department of Education. Kimber did not pick these schools. I had no influence. This was a data-based decision based on the rules of the program. The school had to have 25% or higher of student mobility, meaning students are moving from one school to the next. They're seeing a lot of turnover in the student population. And then they had to have a socially, economically disadvantaged rate that was greater than 70%. That second piece, almost all of our schools meet. It's the first piece that only some of our schools meet. So the school had to meet both 1 and 2 to be eligible. Schools were identified in 2024, and that is called Cohort 1. And I've already talked about them. We've talked about their data. We've talked about their expenditures. As a school site, they have talked about it at their level. They've sent out thought exchange surveys. So there's been a lot of discussion about it. We are adding a second cohort. So more schools were identified. They use the same rules though. So it still is rule 1 and 2. So it's still socioeconomically disadvantaged and still is non-stability rate. That means most of the schools in cohort 1 are also in cohort 2. There's very few changes between cohort 1 and cohort 2, and what that means is that the schools got an allocation of dollars in cohort 1 and got a second, totally new They didn't get less because they were in cohort 1, new allocation for cohort number 2. They have multiple years to spend these dollars. It's not a spend it in 1 year. So most of these programs are intervention programs that will happen over the next 4 years. Okay? Go ahead and go to the next slide. You'll see, I'll just briefly want to share the changes for cohort 1, that information I provided, but cohort 2, the only new school is Rio Vista. So if you are the representative for Rio Vista, that would have been part of your discussion during your SPSA development in your what you're going to do for equity multiplier. All of the other schools from cohort 1 were either re-identified or spent all of their dollars, so they no longer have any equity multiplier funds to spend. So cohort 1, continuing in the LCAP, will be San Andreas Sierra ALC, Alternative Learning Center, Virtual Academy, Arrowhead Elementary, San Bernardino High School, Barton Elementary, Del Vallejo Middle School, Norton Elementary, Jones Elementary, Pacific High School, Hunt Elementary, Indian Springs High School, Del Rosa Elementary, and Highland Pacific Elementary. So those all continue. They are going to have either cohort 1 or cohort 1 and $2. Okay. In our reflections of our successes, you'll see their successes for those unduplicated student groups of English learner, low income, and foster youth. These are data points that have previously been reported. We just now write them out as a narrative of where those gains were. So you'll see English learners, for example, the growth in college and career in that third bullet point there. Low income, as an example, you'll see the growth in CTE readiness. CTE completion. Foster youth, you'll see the growth, like, for example, in graduation rate. So these are points that we've presented throughout the school year. They're just summarized now in this section. Technical assistance, as I shared, you'll see African American students and the programs that we have for our students. In just touching briefly on what Ms. Williams asked regarding what's happening at the federal level, there's a lot of discussion around equity practices, using the word equity, having programs for particular student groups. Differentiated assistance is a state program. So it's not impacted by any rules that might come at the federal level. We are moving forward. We are still supporting our Black students. We are still staying focused on making data-based decisions. When we look at the data for those students, this is a historical problem. This is not a problem that we're addressing because the state said that we had to. It's a problem that we're addressing because it's a priority here in our district. In fact, in our district, we started the TIP policy way back when I was a baby teacher and I was on the first African American task force. So this is not something new for us. This is now something we incorporate in our district plans, and we are sharing out data and we are sharing out the actions of what we're doing to show what's having an impact and then making adjustments as we need to. If you'll remember, I use that phrase, plan, do, study, act. We write the plan, we implement the plan, we study the results, and then we act on those results. Either we refine the program, we change the program. In some instances, we may discontinue a program if it's not giving us the results that we're looking for. So you'll see that in technical assistance. Next slide. You will also see foster youth. This will be the new portion. Foster youth is a newly identified group for us for differentiated assistance. Were we doing things for foster youth prior to our identification? Yes or no? Yes. We have an entire department for it. It has been a priority for us. So they are working on the Plan, Do, Study, Act model. They will be implementing a new orientation process for our foster youth students to help them make meaningful connections right at the onset of their enrollment, not only with students, but also with adults and also with resources. Again, we don't want these things to be a secret of all of the resources and support that's available here in our district. So there will be a formal Now orientation process for our foster youth students. This was actually developed with a team, and it included a foster youth student who shared their perspective on their experience in joining our district and figuring things out. We don't want our kids to have to figure things out, right? We want to be that support, leading them and showing them, if this comes up and you need help, here's what we have, right? Not as an after the fact thing. Next slide. Right in the middle of the plan, you'll see educational partner input. Over 22 meetings. These are our formal, for sure it's on agenda meetings. These are not our one-on-one interactions. If somebody makes an appointment with me and meets with me, it does not include any of those. But there are a lot of people that we consult with, that we present to, and that we gather input from. Each of those includes a question and answer portion to when we do present, providing hopefully the answers right then and there. We don't want you to have to wait and get the answer later. We want you to have that answer in real time. We also provided a thought exchange survey this year done during our community meeting with over 500 participants, 855 thoughts, and over nearly 6,000 ratings of those thoughts. Again, we're not rewriting a whole new plan. We're getting input on what our plan was based on the data and what we're seeing in the trends for this. So this was our engaging educational partners section. That will take us to our 3 golden goals. We call them our golden goals because they support those 3 student populations: English learner, low income, and foster youth. Goal number 1, centering on academics with an investment over $159 million. Goal number 2, centering on our school climate, investing over $36 million. And goal number 3, centering on our family, student, and community engagement with an investment over $5 million. Those are unchanged from our current LCAP. Those goals remain the same. There were some changes. So you'll see a summary of the changes from 24-25 to 25-26. So the first one, loud and clear, we very much hear the value and importance of providing field trips to our students, educational field trips for them. They will have a new funding source, so they won't be funded by LCAP, but they will continue. So I want to make sure the message got clearly stated at the school site level. They will continue. They're just funded at the school site level. During your school site council, you want to ask how much money as a school site are we spending on field trips. That might be with your school site allocation. It might also be with your expanded learning allocation, which is your like CAPS or EXL funding, can also fund field trips. We are continuing with Science Camp. So in case you've got a kiddo who's coming up to that 5th grade year of Science Camp is continuing. It also has a new funding source. Library aides, we just renamed it to include staff because of title changes. So it's the staff that works in our libraries. These are staff that support our students in checking out their books, learning the Dewey Decimal System, and understanding, how do I pick a good book? How do I pick a good book that's interesting to me? How do I pick a good book that's at a level that I can actually read and learn from it, right? We don't want something, we want the Goldilocks, right? Not too easy, but not too hard. We want that right in the middle. And then we are increasing our support for middle schools. If you'll remember in my presentation at the beginning of the year, we talked about our previous plans really hitting elementary and getting intervention systems in place, and now moving to the middle school level. We are continuing that focus. We kept elementary. We're now just increasing at the middle school level. So we're working our way up. Goal number 2, we are continuing with the Bringing Hope to Saturday or Saturday School program. It just has a new funding source, so not going away. It is still an opt-in model, so your school has to opt in. So if you want this at your school site, you need to have the conversation. It could be during ELAC, during school site council, coffee with the principal, share your interest, but also gather interest from other parents so that it's not just one person asking for it, right? And then goal number 3, we are staying the same. We continue to increase and improve this service each year. This year, adding our community fair with Unity, all in capital. I'm not sure if you were able to attend that event. That was a new event for us this year. That was our first annual. But we are holding steadfast to that commitment that building that bridge between the parents and community and the school is what strengthens us. So there's no change where something is not continuing or something's not being funded. It is continuing and continues to get lots of support. Next slide. You'll see here the different actions. I've been through these actions many times. Hopefully many of you could present this right here next to me, these actions. What you'll see is the dollar amount that's allocated to them in our draft. It is possible the dollars could shift and adjust because our governor's May revised budget does not come out until after May 15th. So these are our numbers prior to May 15th. At May 15th, we'll have a little more information, and then they negotiate out through the end of June. So you may see not huge, but you may see a different dollar amount there when we get to the draft portion. I just want to be super transparent about that. It may change slightly if the amount allocated through the governor's May revise is different. For example, we just got our benefits rates, and we just got our cost of living adjustment rate that affects how much is allocated. Okay, you can go to the next slide. This continues goal number 1. Again, that first column listing the action, the second one listing the scope, so where will you find this action, and the last one, the student groups that the data is based on and the dollars allocated. Next slide, you'll see getting here nearing the middle of goal number 1. This is actions 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Next slide, you'll see the new title of library staff in there, taking us down to number 21. I'm sorry, yeah, 23. Science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Then we will go to goal number 2. Again, this is part of our golden goals, English learner, low-income foster youth. You'll see there our actions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continuing on all the way through action number 11. And ending there with action 15, elementary vice principals. And goal number 3, very quick, three actions, 3 very impactful actions, 1, 2, and 3. After goals 1 through 3, those are our golden goals. Remember, that's why it has a banner down at the bottom to remind you these are English learner, low-income foster youth. Goals 4 through 20, if you go to the next slide, this takes us into things that are not tied to English learner, low-income foster youth specifically. Right? These are based on programs now. So the first one is Equity Multiplier. Equity Multiplier fills out goals 4 through 19. So goal 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19 are all Equity Multiplier goals. Each goal is assigned to a single school. So if you are at an Equity Multiplier school, I listed the name, I called it out, you would be able to find your school in goals 4 through 19. You can see there the list of interventions that are provided at each of those schools. So you'll see some of them are adding additional classrooms. Those could be support classrooms, intervention classrooms. The high schools are adding things like coaches, helping to build the capacity of our teachers in real time. The power of coaching is very impactful to be able to go into a classroom, plan a lesson together, teach a lesson together, give feedback, learn from that, and then do better the next time. That is happening with our Equity Multiplier, intervention, staffing learning centers and support classes, professional development, tutoring. So this would be additional tutoring. If your school is one of the equity multiplier, they will have a specific dedicated tutoring program through this equity multiplier funding. Supplemental materials to support intervention, and then staff that's helping to implement those programs. That will take us to goal number 20. Goal number 20 is brand new. Brand new. Was not in the plan this year. This is a new requirement for our LCAP. This goal last year was one of our schools that's no longer eligible for equity multipliers. So in the plan, you're going to see the school's name and everything's crossed out because they've spent all their dollars and they're no longer eligible. And you're going to see a new goal 20. The new goal 20 is focused on a grant. The grant is called LREBG, of course, another acronym, our favorite. It is Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. The federal government provided us COVID dollars. You probably have heard about COVID dollars or ESSER dollars. Those have expired. The state responded by providing us pandemic-related dollars or responding to emergencies under this program, Learning Recovery Emergency Block Grant. The purpose is to support the lowest achieving students. So we looked at our data. When these funds became available, this is not the first year of the funds, but when the funds became available, we looked at what we were able to provide using our SPSA dollars, using our basic LCFF dollars, local control funding formula dollars. We looked at all of our Title 1, 2, 3, 4 dollars. What could we do that's even more extra? So we actually have already started these. It was not required to be in the LCAP. It is now required to be in the LCAP. The reason it's required is because many districts, there was a lot of uses for these dollars, very open. You could use it for a wide range of things. There was a lawsuit coming out of Los Angeles Unified School District from students saying they didn't get extra help coming out of the COVID pandemic. The governor said, districts, you need to give extra support to students, and I want to see it in your LCAP. We were already doing that. We were not using the funds for anything non-instructional. Everything we were doing was already to support those intervention practices and to support our students. So what you see here are resident guest teachers. These teachers work at the elementary level in early literacy and early numeracy, providing intervention in our learning centers, a learning lab. Schools call it different things. You might have an eagle's nest or a bear's den. They all kind of have their own name, but this is where they provide intervention. This provides the staffing for it. It also provided the staffing for our equity guest teacher program, which we previously had dollars assigned in goal 21. You'll see those dollars are now in goal 20, but the program remains the same. These are at our schools that have the highest percentage of African American students with the lowest performance. You had to have both, right? So this gives additional intervention staff there. It provided tutoring, and this was in-home tutoring, on-campus tutoring, additional tutoring programs. So if your child received Valdez tutoring, brain fuse tutoring, golly, there's a lot of different choices. This is how it was paid for. It was learning recovery funds. And then the last one is we added aides at the kindergarten level. So previously our kindergarten teachers had, beginning of the school year, 24 bright young minds joining their educational career, many of them for the first time ever, and a single teacher. So this helps to give those classes additional support. The kindergarten classes share an aide. So between two classes, they share one aide. And those were added using learning recovery funds. You'll see that captured in our LCAP now. Next slide. Differentiated assistance. This will be still specific to African American students. This will not be the foster youth student side of it. That's going to be in Goal 1, Action 7. This will be just our African American students, and you'll see those actions there. This is many of the programs that we had in the previous year, continuing with some slight adjustments and changes to that, investing over $5.6 million. A portion of what they're doing, for example, the first one, intervention staffing, those dollars will not be in Goal 21 anymore. They're captured in Goal 20. So it looks like it's less money than last year. It's just that we had to reassign them to a different goal. Last part here, increase and improve services. This is where we show what we're doing is more. We have more programs, more services, more support for our students, families, and staff to help improve their outcomes. So that section describes what that looks like. And that'll take us to the process of collecting any questions remaining that you might have for the superintendent. The draft is going to be presented on May 22nd. You have the flyer for that presentation. That's our lovely 400+ page document. Our district is committed to supporting and celebrating bilingualism. It will be in English and in Spanish. So if Spanish is your primary language, we will also have the draft in Spanish for you. Also very unique, our district compared to other districts will wait to give a draft until it's already been approved by the county. We want to make sure you hear and see this in a language that you feel comfortable with. So that presentation will be on May 22nd. It starts at 5 o'clock for dinner. 5 to 5:30 is just dinner, saying hello, gathering together, celebrating the end of the year, making it, surviving it, looking forward to the next year. 5:30 will begin the presentation. If you come tonight, what you will hear in the draft will be similar. I'll try to throw in some jokes, keep everybody awake, keep you on your toes. I might throw in a pop quiz, especially if I saw you tonight. So we'll see. But you are able to scan the QR code, which is on the next slide. So if you show the next slide, if you have a mobile device, you're able to hold your camera up or a QR code reader app. You can scan that and you select your language, English or Spanish, and you are able to ask your question. The superintendent will provide an answer in writing, which will be posted online. We post the answer to those questions on sbcusd.com/LCAP. Very easy to find if you just went to the district's homepage. It's also linked, LCAP is linked right on the homepage for you there as well. We will provide a copy of the draft as well on that same website. So if you have a practice of bookmarking websites, that's a good one to bookmark because that is where we do post all of our LCAP information. And then we will present it to the Board of Education on June 3rd. June 3rd is a public hearing. A public hearing happens during a regular board meeting. The board member will knock their gavel, open the public hearing, take any public comments. So you're able to come to the board, give a public comment on it. You might want to celebrate how it has changed your child, how it has impacted you, how you've been able to participate in it. You might ask questions, you might give feedback. They'll close it, and then it will come back to the board on June 17th. On that night of June 3rd, I will give a presentation to the board to make sure that they understand also all the nuances and details and components of the plan as they read it, so they are prepared as they go in for adoption. Adoption's June 17th. June 17th, that night, I send it to the county. It's my favorite night. I already have the email written. All I have to do is attach it once the board adopts it. It goes to the county. They have until October to approve it. So our board adopts, the county is the approver. I have worked with the county throughout the year in sharing with them our process. We actually presented to other districts on how to do this. I get feedback from them. I make any changes that they're going to require. So they've already read our plan several times. So when they get it, it's not a surprise. There's no shock out there that should happen. Could it happen? The possibility exists. The crystal ball does not. So I'm hoping that our collaboration throughout this time makes it a smooth process. But they do have until, October for that approval at the county level. And that takes me to the last one, which is just your reminder of your to-do list. I gave you a lot of information tonight, a lot of slides, a lot to take back to recruit somebody to come back with you to the community meeting. Bring somebody new. Bring somebody who has questions but doesn't ask questions. Somebody who you're helping to make a leader like you are yourself, that you can model for them. So we want to just extend that invitation May 22nd, 5 o'clock. You can. It is only in person. So I do want to make sure I share. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not. It's hybrid. You get both. Hybrid. The first community meeting was only in person. This one's hybrid. So you can join us online. It's not as much fun. The food is yours at home. We have food here. We want to fellowship with you before and celebrate the successes we've had this year and the plans we have for next year. So again, thank you for your time tonight. It's going to take us into a celebration, so I want to make sure we leave time. But if you have questions, I'll take any questions. I'm just checking the chat. Any questions? Any feedback? Anything you really liked?
Do a pretty good job of breaking everything down.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Again, I'm around if you are not the microphone type of person. I'm around. And I'm going to turn it over to Cheryl Tagashi and Ms. Williams for our next agenda item.
If I can quickly mention, before we recognize our wonderful DAC members, I would like to give our student representative, Wilbert Avila, who is online. He did email me saying, hey, I'm here. So he would like to give the Student Leadership Advisory report.
Excellent. Let's have that report right now.
Wilbur, if you can unmute and give the report.
I am just here taking notes about the whole presentation and meeting.
Okay, thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here. All right, Ms. Williams, next item on the agenda.
Okay. Once again, we want to give a warm thank you to Miss Sargent, Kimber Sargent. Again, you guys just give her a hand because she goes through so much. And she does a lot to ensure that we get this information, that we understand this information. And it takes a lot of her own personal time. So we need to send her on a vacation. Yes.
And you know what? I'd also like to thank our two program specialists who
Yes.
support Ms. Sargent specifically with the LCAP and the LCAP Federal Addendum, Martha Eaton and Sandra Lockenlally.
Yes,
Let's give
yes.
them a big hand also.
Thank you, Cheryl. So if there are no further questions, we will move to our next agenda line item, the recognition of your DAC members. We have Ms. Cheryl Tagashi, coordinator of our categorical program, alongside Ms. Kimber Sargent, director of categorical programs, who will be recognizing our DAC members.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate each and every one of our DAC representatives, and we have a very nice little certificate to thank you for your support this year, for your participation. Those of you who have been here virtually, we'll make sure we send your certificate to you at your school site. But we would like to thank those of you who came in person tonight, starting with our board members. Let's start with our co-chairs, Miss Mia Cooper, and I'm sorry, Miss Mia is our vice chair. Miss Mia Cooper, our vice chair, and Miss Corinthia Williams, one of our co-chairs. Let's give them a big hand, please. Come on down for your certificate. Next, we'd like to recognize our co-secretaries, Miss Karina De Santiago and Miss Crystal Lopez. Come on down. You get to stand by the balloons. And last but not least, our parliamentarian, Miss Sally Garcia. Next, we have our representative, Patricia Rayo. Come on down. Vanessa Ibarra, come on down. Karen Rios, come on down. Maria Rodriguez, come on down. Maricela Nunez, come on down. And Consuelo Rubio Mendoza, come on down. And again, for those of you who are in attendance virtually, and for those of you who were not able to make it this evening, we do have your certificate. Your names are on our slide there, so thank you so much for attending our meetings and supporting us this year. Let's have a quick picture of our representatives here. I will stand out of your way. We'd also like to thank our interpretation service department for being here at every meeting. Thank you so much. Our family engagement department who come in support of our public comment time. And last but not least, the entire categorical programs team. We truly appreciate all the hard work that our team puts in. Thank you so much. I'm looking to see if there are any comments before we move on to public comment. It's almost time. Ms. Sargent, there is a comment. Thank you for the great report, Ms. Sargent. I love the simple way you explain all those plans. And thank you for all the amazing information from our virtual world. We are so glad you are here. All right, let's move on to public comment time.
Okay.
Okay. This is a time, public comment. This is a time for public comment. Does anyone have any public comment within the previews of today's DAC agenda?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Williams?
Yes, I do. So with our public comments, as you noticed, she kept going. Kimber kept mentioning the foster youth. I would like to gladly say, as a foster parent of two wonderful students here within this district, one of them will be graduating with honors on June 2nd. Yes. And that is Demario Thompson Jr.
All right.
Yes.
What a celebration. That's amazing.
And that department helped a lot. So if anybody does not know about the foster youth program and what all they do, trust me, they've helped me so much, and especially with his graduation coming. So all you parents out there and all our 200 audience here, if you have a foster kid, if anything, they help a lot.
Excellent. And that's our specialized programs department,
Yes.
Atlas,
Yes.
with our director, Angela Yerkiti. She came earlier this year and presented. So if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out to her.
Thank you.
All right, next comment. Okay, we'll hold on with interpretation. Are we ready? Okay.
Ok, quería decirles que muchas gracias por todo el apoyo de todos los años, que si no nos dieran la información y los números que estuvieran, no supiéramos cómo ir a nuestras escuelas y poder aprovechar cada dólar, cada centavo para la educación de nuestros hijos.
I just want to say thank you very much for all the support that you gave us. Should you not give us all the numbers and how each dollar is spent, we will not know how it goes to our schools. Thank you very much for all your support.
Por muchos años que ya nos conocemos, tal vez ya no voy a ser representante de la escuela, pero aquí voy a seguir estando y trayendo más padres para que sepan que tenemos voz en el presupuesto de las escuelas. Gracias.
And for all the years that we know each other, probably I'm not going to be participating anymore, but I'm still going to be around and bringing more parents so that they can participate.
Thank you so much. We certainly welcome you and all parents to join our meetings. Thank you. Let's give her a big hand, please. Next.
Buenas tardes a todos, soy Consuelo Rubio. Yo igual quiero dar las gracias porque llevo 4 años involucrada, 4 años que he ido aprendiendo, 4 años que he ido creciendo y 4 años en las que yo me he informado y he podido ayudar tal vez a algunos padres, quisiera ayudar más. Pero gracias y también quiero desear a todas las mamás feliz día. En México celebramos el 10, aquí el 11, así que doble festejo y que Dios las bendiga a todas. Gracias.
Good afternoon. My name is Consuelo Rubio, and I want also to say thank you very much for all your assistance. I've been participating for years of learning, for years of sharing, for years of taking information to the schools and bringing parents. I hope I can continue doing the same. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Maricela Nunez, and I just want to say thank you to all of you and keeping that science camp through LCAP because my daughter was benefit from that. She loved it, and I want all the other students to have that opportunity like my daughter did. So thank you for keeping the science camp with LCAP.
Excellent. We heard a lot from 5th graders who love that camp and it helped them with their science tests. So great. One more comment. I don't see any on virtual, but we have one more in person.
Patricia Padilla Rayo, and I just like to thank you for the opportunity. It's my first year, and I just barely find out today that you guys also cover the adult school, which I have enrolled, and I'm proud of it because I just barely find out. So for sure, I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to be coming back again.
Excellent. Thank you. And keep in mind, even if you're not a district advisory council representative, if you're not elected by your school site council, you can still come no matter what. So, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
We have one more comment over here.
One more comment. Excellent.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone. And also would like to announce that I'm having a parent leadership workshop at Newmark Elementary on May 21st. We welcome whoever would like to come. It's just a parent-to-parent conversation on parent leadership and how important it is to be involved in your child's school. And it's a fact that it brings them success. And with that, thank you, and everyone have a good night, and happy Mother's Day.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ms. Crystal. All right, next item on our agenda. We've got some upcoming meetings, last ones of the year. I think there's one more for our CAC Parent Advisory Group. That's at the end of your agenda. And last but not least, closure.
Okay.
Who's calling our meeting
Guess
to an
I
end?
guess the same person that opened it will close it. How about that, you guys?
Excellent.
Yay.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you on May 20. What day? Tell me. May 22nd for LCAP
LCAP.
Community Meeting.
That's right.
Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.